Don't forget to go down in the description below to check out all the discounts and reductions and special offers available for different softwares. Thank you. This is going to be a crazy video because I'm going to compare a Nikon file with DxO Photolab 8 versus Nikon NX Studio, Capture One Pro, and Silkypix Developer Studio Pro. The image is taken with a Nikon D800 and the lens is the Tamron. I think it's the VC or something like that. The 24-70 VR, 24-70 f2.8. So objective is nothing crazy. I'm going to just export each image as their initial settings that originally was in the camera. And only thing I'm going to change is the default setting, the default camera setting that I originally had. I'm not going to do any kind of local adjustment or whatever. Objective is simple, is that one, the color, which one give you a better true color, true to the original. And second, which one actually give you a better sharpness without using the sharpness, the manual sharpness, just by default. And the quality of the JPEG, quality of the image, overall the quality, everything without serious manipulation. That could be my skin tone, that could be the color of the sky, that could be, you know, the sharpness in general by default sharpness, if you know what I mean. So that's our objective. So we're going to compare side by side after exporting Silkypix versus Photolab 8 versus Capture One Pro versus the default free of cost Nikon NX Studio. In my opinion, this is probably the best for the money because it's free, obviously. So there is nothing crazy. And I have a slight problem here. I can see that here I do have some editing done. So I'm going to try to get rid of all of it. For example, reset. Otherwise, everything seems to be just fine. If this video is very helpful to you until this point, then I highly appreciate your help. If you go down into description below and click in the links necessary in order to chip in some money for coffee so that I can make more videos for you and for myself as well. And thank you for watching this video. Apologies for the little pause. So I finally figured it out. So the last thing I'm going to do, which I forgot to mention, is simple. I'm going to export in the camera picture control neutral. So I'm going to try to do neutral here because problem is that if you go to standard or landscape, you know, they change the contrast level. The neutral will make sure that everything is neutral or out of your edit. It does not apply anything. It leaves it as original as possible. So I'm going to start with that Nikon NX Studio. So camera profile neutral, bear in mind, and everything else unchecked. I'm going to scroll down just to be fair and just to, you know, make sure that there is no bias there. And the noise reduction, I'm going to turn on the default original value noise reduction. So I'm not touching anything. And the sharpness adjustment, I'm just going to turn on the original value. The original value was originally recorded in the, you know what? I'm not going to touch any sharpness either. I'm going to let it go, the sharpness, because if I turn on original value, for instance, it actually stays 0. So if I remember, I actually in the camera left it 0 anyway, just to make sure that I have the maximum quality available. So I'm going to start with that. So here I have the Nikon NX Studio, and I'm going to export JPEG maximum quality, and then a specific folder browse, and I have a compare, select folder, and I'm going to export this particular image. There, the change file name naming option, I have the NX Studio to make sure that it's well separated, and then export. So normally it should be exporting as we speak. While it's exporting, we are going to go to Photolab, and one particular thing, because the lens itself is a third-party lens, unfortunately I'm not going to do, or I actually cannot do any kind of lens correction in Nikon NX Studio, because unfortunately you need to have a native lens, otherwise it doesn't work. Well, that kind of suck, because I was expecting it to support third-party lens anyway, but that's what it is. We're not going to do that here. So we're going to apply preset. I'm going to go to general purpose preset, neutral color. So again, same neutral. I'm going to scroll all the way. Make sure the contrast is off. Everything is off basically. Smart lighting off. Vignetting off. Practically everything is off. DxO white gamut. No, we're going to get back to legacy because otherwise it's not fair. HSL off. Now, here is the interesting part. Because it's not a high noise, this is a 1000 ISO, I'm just going to use the high quality. I'm not even going to use the prime because I don't think it's fair, in my opinion. Just because objective is to make sure that with the minimum effort, what software give you the best true to original color. Lens softness obviously off, as I did earlier. Chromatic aberration, I'm going to leave it off because the lens is, in fact, is not that bad. Now, distortion, I leave it on because why not? I mean, it's not fair. Just because the NX Studio doesn't allow you, doesn't mean that, you shouldn't show the quality of the other software. Then FX, just to show you that everything is off here. And there is nothing done in terms of the local adjustment. So I'm being fair. I'm going to go to export to disk, standard output, make sure it's in the right, compare, select folder, suffix DxO, let's say PL, export. It should be exporting now, and it should be pretty fast because there is almost nothing done. And I'm going to turn off my Nikon NX Studio because too many things are on. So we have the DxO. Fantastic. Now we're going to Silkypix Developer Studio Pro, but before that I'm going to turn off Photolab. Now Silkypix Studio. Now it's no sharpness and no noise reduction. So I'm going to turn on the default noise reduction. There you go. Probably the default. Probably not default sharpening, but the default noise reduction, yes. Default sharpening, no, because in the other software, I did turn everything off. Noise reduction, just to double check. Standard, that's it. I just left it as it is. Nothing crazy. And here, I'm going to do something particular. The clear view, I don't recommend you leave it to standard because clear view sometimes give you some strange, weird kind of look. By the way, one thing that I completely forgot, the color. It's supposed to be neutral. So natural, faithful. Natural here is the faithful. I'm just going to double check just for the sake of double checking. Yeah. Faithful is the one that the least amount of editing. No. I'm going to do export. Make sure that it says Silky. Compare. Make sure that is the best quality, and also make sure that there is no sharpening. Sharpening is non-zero. Develop. You see that it's pretty quiet and quite fast because, you know, it's practically no editing done. And finally, Capture One Pro. I just did because I'm quite excited about it actually. So what do? We are going to do exactly the same thing we did earlier. So we are in the library. We're going to style, and there should be generic. So Nikon flat, linear response. No, not really necessarily linear response. I think standard. If anybody can help me out, that would be nice. But there you go, Nikon neutral. Finally, I got the Nikon neutral. So Nikon neutral, automatic. Because if I do extra shadow, contrast, standard version 2, standard, linear response, they all kind of mess up everything. So auto is better. Neutral and auto. So I did not touch anything. I have to make sure that everything else are as it should be. For instance, that just nothing is touched. I'm going to scroll down. Vignetting, make sure that, you know what, I'm going to leave it on because it does not impact the image quality. Even though I did it in DxO Photolab, I apologize, but I don't think it changed much. And we're going to go back and redo it. So I've changed style, shape is there. You know, I'm not going to touch anything here. Lens correction, definitely, I'm going to touch it because we've done it in distortion correction. Chromatic aberration off. Distortion is on. Sharpness is 0. Light fall of 0. Perfect. Here ICC profile is fine. Redefine. There you go. The sharpening has to be 0. So I'm going to turn everything down. Noise reduction, I'm leaving it as default. I'm not touching it. Film grain, 0. Dust removal, 0. Purple fringing, 0. Moire, 0. I think I've been quite fair. Now time to export. In order to export, I'm going to click export. Make sure full size, highest quality. I have to make sure that the unsharp mask is not on. Naming, image name plus capture one. I have to make sure that it's separated by something in between, otherwise it doesn't matter. Open with nothing. Actually, what? From there we're going to straight open with something, because this is where everything starts. Location, desktop, compare, select folder. All I'm trying to do is to make sure that there is no sort of sharpening done. Summary, probably nothing. Let me know if you see something. I think I have not manipulated anything in terms of the sharpness. While you're watching this video, please don't forget to comment in the description below, in the comment section below, to share your opinions. So I think we're good to go. Export. So it's exporting now as we speak. It says about 10 seconds left. Then we're going to compare side by side. And now we have capture one result with fast tone. Good thing about first one, I can compare all four side by side. So to give you a briefing, we have Capture One version with 18.4 megabyte full quality. We have Silkypix Developer Studio Pro 11 megabyte. Strange though, I was expecting kind of bigger in size. Don't know why. You can give me the full size though. It's 36 megapixel camera, by the way. So 11 megabyte. You have DxO Photolab with 46 goddamn megabyte. What the hell happened with the other ones? And you have Nikon NEF Studio with 21 megabytes. It doesn't make any sense. Really doesn't make any sense. I've got to go back at least to Capture One to see why. Is it normal? Because I did click the maximum quality though. But it did give me kind of like a significantly smaller in size, which if somebody could explain to me, I would really appreciate it, because everything is 100%. It's very strange. Anyway, I'm going to close that. Not now. So, to summarize, again, Nikon NEF Studio, 21 megabyte. DxO Photolab, 46.2 megabyte. I mean, seriously, biggest size ever. You have 11 megabyte of Silkypix Developer Studio Pro, which I am sincerely surprised. You know what? I cannot take this. 11 megabyte is way too low. So I'm going to reopen it and then double check exactly if I've done everything correctly. Because otherwise it's unfair to this particular software. So I'm going to double check. Settings. JPEG high quality. It is high quality. The highest quality non-conforming. Yes. Enhance setting, everything is 0. Yeah, I've done nothing wrong. I've done nothing wrong. So, I don't know. Very strange. And Capture One finally gave 18 megabyte. So all of them has a lot of variables. Strange. So now we're going to compare side by side. Right. Sorry for the pause. I'm just taking a look. Let me know what you think overall. I'm going to turn on the .exe file just in case. Now, zooming in. First of all, the color. The blue sky. In my opinion, the Silkypix blue is slightly going towards purple-ish, in my opinion. The blue sky is much darker in Nikon NX Studio. DxO Photolab and Silkypix are kind of close, but even DxO still much brighter. As a matter of fact, the Capture One and DxO are quite similar, where Silkypix and NX Studio much more saturated, but in terms of the color, the Nikon seems to be much more truthful. How about my skin tone? I'm going to get rid of the exit file. If you look at it, my skin tone fairly same. However, obviously Nikon NX Studio, in my opinion, is quite true to original, and the rest slightly brighter. Silkypix tend to be slightly toward yellowish in this department, where the DxO Photolab and Capture One seems to be quite similar and natural. It seems to me that Nikon NX Studio and Silkypix seems to be practically same. It doesn't surprise me because Silkypix does work directly with Nikon, or at least used to. So it doesn't surprise me. And strange in this section, DxO and Capture One pretty much same, where the Silkypix and Nikon NX Studio are almost similarish. Here, surprisingly, Silkypix is much more yellow than the rest. Now, the blur area. I have to make sure that it's 100% because there's no point to do pixel peeping. The highlight control, Silkypix tried to do a little bit too much. Nikon seems to be natural. DxO tried to recover quite a bit, but the Capture One did much better job in my eyes. In terms of the sharpness, we're going to go back to my skin. Capture One, fantastic. DxO also did really good. As a matter of fact, Nikon NX Studio, slightly less sharp, but looks quite natural in my opinion. And I just remembered that the DxO file size is quite big, 46 megabytes. If I zoom in like crazy, there's a good chance that the DxO will be way ahead. What is the conclusion? In my opinion, they all are quite adequate, especially Nikon NX Studio for a free software is pretty awesome overall. Capture One specialized on portrait, so obviously the skin tone is much better. DxO excellent as well, I have no complaint. Silkypix as an unknown software does a fantastic job as well. So all of them by default without any serious editing can provide you a very good JPEG output. That's my conclusion. So you have to just love which one you prefer in terms of your workflow. So that's my take. Enjoy photography, take care of yourself, and bye-bye.